That's right, folks. We're back. It's been a long time. Let's do this. Apparently, things aren't quite the way I left them, technically. Hey, Internet. My name is Todd. We're gonna play some Dungeons & Dragons tonight. We had to take last week off because my work decided to go, hey, here's a giant thing. So I'm happy that that's over now. And I'm most happy to get back to the virtual table or real table and play some imagination games with some friends. So let's go and meet some of the friends, shall we? Hey, everybody. You want to say hey to the interwebs?
Hi.
Hey.
Hello, internets.
I'm super excited because we got 6 at the table again. It's been a while since that, counting myself, of course. So we're going to be able to see everybody. I'm just wondering if Jay's going to show up with pants on or whether we'll, like, suddenly get kicked off Twitch. That could be real interesting.
You have a blur function, don't you?
In post. We'll fix it in post, right? It's not like it's a live show.
That's right.
Speaking of which, it is a live show, and we do interact with our audience. So, Internet, if you want to chat at us, I think this will work. Hello. And
Side
it should
quest
say,
live.
say it out loud.
Said, hello.
And the benefit
Hello.
of that, of course, is you can make suggestions, you can say hey, you can drop in an idea. We do what are called plot points. So if you watch for a little bit, you gain some points, and as you gain points, you can cash them in for, like, I don't know, a sudden encounter against these people, or an idea, or a cut to flashback. It can serve the story, it can throw us for a loop, and our job is to try and figure out a way to make it work and just have some fun with you, the audience, and each other. So that's kind of the plan for today, I think. Any questions before we dive in? Interwebs, jump in. We also ask for people to name our stuff. So by all means, I think the last time we had a name for the city, but we are still waiting for a cursed item. So if anybody wants to make that suggestion, just let me know. The theme of the cursed item is Otiok Lair. There you go. I'm getting that right. Yeah.
It's true.
All right, so let's go around the table. We'll meet the people and we'll do a recap. Although I do want Jay to be here for the recap because he's been out of it for a while. We've been playing his character for him, making him do all kinds of, it's the grunt work. Who sets up the campfire? Who goes looking for the wood? All that. Oh, I see a Jay coming back.
Hi, gang.
Oh, hey, the sweet dulcet tones of Jay Silai. All right, so I guess we'll just quickly introduce the characters
Yo,
and then we'll do a recap. Hey, yo, Finn.
Oh my god, Jay lives.
Jay lives. Jay lives. He's alive. He's alive.
I'm here. Are you here too, Carl? Hey, Carl, how are you?
Good, man, good. Little munchkins down for the count, at least for maybe an hour or two, so we'll see how it goes.
Oh, yeah.
Well, let me tell you, us two children parents are now like, that seems like so easy with one kid.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, one and
Todd.
done here.
I try not to
Oh my
judge
God,
because
you done?
everything has its own struggles, but yeah, it's a whole other thing.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. But now,
Oh,
He went on mute.
I see. Oh, you're back.
I blame his children somehow. I don't know why. That's awesome. So yeah, definitely being Dungeons and Dragons and being a parent is a whole thing, but it's great stress relief too. Like, dude. Oh, we are having some connectivity issues with the J, so that's gonna mess things up, but that's okay.
I'm changing my name here.
Oh, nice. I actually did just change it for you too, just so you know.
Yeah.
You might want to change your settings so that it doesn't hide people without cameras, maybe?
Yeah, I probably
so that it
should do
doesn't
that.
rearrange ever.
God,
Yeah.
Roger.
Absolutely. Well, let's begin by going around the horn though, and meeting and greeting a little bit. So hi everybody. How about we start with this side as my green screen? We'll start out with Darmita, and played by the resident Bela. So tell us who you are. What do you do? What gets you up in the morning, Darmita?
Revenge. Sweet, sweet revenge. A dish served, best served cold, right?
Absolutely ice cold.
Revenge for what?
Life.
Oh, I knew you were gonna say that. To be fair, she grew up in. Maybe we'll find out more about that tonight. Actually, I'm kind of excited because we're doing. It's green screening out, but we're doing Descent into Avernus, sorta. But we're also doing our homebrew. It's a real mashup. So tonight, I'm hoping to mess around with that. So we'll see what happens. So Darmita, you're a ranger, if I remember correctly, right? For those classically inclined. Ooh, that's old school.
Ellen. Yeah. So, she's I think week to week she's up and down. We never know. Last week she was a real hot bitch to everybody.
To be fair, she did just lose her best friend.
Yeah. So we'll see how this week rolls. I don't know.
Absolutely. I'm going to be fixing some cameras up as we go, but let's keep going around and talk to the man in the corner, the man with the plan, the man with the art, Darcy.
Yeah, well, that's me. Wow. Hi, I'm Darcy. My art on screen needs to be changed eventually. Because I am playing Henrietta Pedersen, the pacifist paladin of Pelor.
Pacifist. Now say that 4 times fast. The pacifist paladin.
Nice, good job.
I didn't even get one.
So one of the original characters of the campaign who promptly left after everything was a little bit too morally ambiguous, and after some time away and a short stint as an NPC, has joined the cast once more as a player character.
And it kind of just happened, which I was so excited about.
It felt very organic, which was a lot of fun for me.
Yeah.
We'll see how things go. She is an effort to play, I'm finding.
Interesting.
I get so emotional.
Well, she's definitely, I would say she's safely out of her element. I mean, she's a pacifist paladin bard in hell, and trying to help these people, and also surrounded by some questionable individuals.
Yeah, and it's a question of like, okay, you know, who do you hold arms against? Who do you not? When can you give someone the benefit of the doubt when you're literally in hell? Like, it's a lot. Okay, I'm not going to take up too much more time.
That's all right.
Continue on.
All right, let's keep going around the horn. Hopefully the cameras will agree. Hey, I don't know why I'm on this shot, but hey, Carl. Carl's joined us. He encountered the rest of the party in hell. Let's hear a little bit about...
Twin
Oh.
Said, revenge is like ice cream, cold, sweet, and kept in the freezer next to the body you still need to bury. Wow, I suddenly went dark there. Surprised face.
You gotta save something for when we're playing some Shadowrun, Gemini. Nah, it's all good. Welcome back to hell. We are going to be doing some Shadowrun soon. I've been watching your game, actually. So be sure, if viewers are either watching this or listening after the fact, don't forget to check out Yaofen and Gemini Twin and all those guys. They play a mean Shadowrun. And I'm hoping to put a game together soon. So let's, sorry, we got a little bit off track there. But Carl is playing Falurie. Who's Falurie, Carl?
Falurie is a Arakocra monk, so bird woman, if you will. So she's come from the plane of air and chasing one of her orders marks or targets, if you will. Somehow ended up in hell against her will. Was encountered this group of she's now noticing the the morality is somewhat different than what she's used to. But nevertheless, she encountered them and then started following them in the hopes of reaching her target once again.
And just surviving in hell. I guess when you're surrounded by literal fiends and devils, the people who... It's not about luck, it's about just the people who don't immediately try to take your soul away. Maybe, it leads to some interesting allies for sure. Let's keep going down. Oh, I hit the wrong page and I pulled up Ben Coombe. Unfortunately, this brings us to talking briefly about Ben Coombe. Who wants to recap that a little bit? Anybody?
It's simple. He's dead.
Not
Or-
dead.
Wow, you're not bitter at all. And as a DM, I'm just trying not to be like, no, it was super sweet. Played by a friend of ours, Trent, who because of schedules couldn't join us, and it had a nice dramatic end. And the party actually just tried like crazy to race back and to rescue him before he died in hell. And they literally faced the onslaught of demons and devils, and eventually Darmita and Falurie, both able to fly because of magic items and Bird Lady, managed to race up there, back up into the city, which is hovering above the river Styx, in an attempt to catch up and rescue Ben Coombe. And unfortunately, it was too late. All they found was one of the refugees up there, Farah, who brought them up to speed on what happened, that he had been taken. A little bit more on that later, because I definitely want Carl to hear that part, although I think he knows. But going around the horn, let's go down to Archibald. Dude, it's been an age. Welcome back to the table, bro.
This is what life does to people when does to people.
Hey, man.
Anyway, so I will be playing the dashing and deceptively dangerous Archibald Cunningham. So if you can imagine the foppiest of fops with the biggest powdered wig and white makeup and a painted on mole when he's at his finest, but when this shit goes down, he has a rapier at his side and he knows how to use it.
Oh, yeah.
And the wig comes off.
The wig comes off. And you also happen to be carrying something. Actually, your rapier is good in the dark, but in the light and in hell, he happens to be carrying a sunblade, which is...
I have the name of it here. It is the... Oh, I don't have it on this one.
It's okay.
I just print out.
The sunblade, once held by Nishida, I believe she was some kind of celestial. It was Deva, I think. Yeah, and also related to and connected to Darmita, being half angel. So there's lots of little tie back and forth. I mean, this is
Can I
episode
get the stat
32.
on that sword again?
Absolutely.
Can you send me this list?
Yeah, in a little bit. I'll send that over to you. It's a +2 weapon, and that's for all the numbers. And it does radiant damage, and it is beefy. All right, we'll come back to it. Yeah, so it's definitely your ace in the hole. All right, so that brings us all the way around to Gordon.
Hey, Gordon, playing one of the original characters, Fenris, who is a shadow sorcerer. He's the youngest of the group, in his late teens, and kind of, you can imagine, more of a goth, dark, inward-looking person on the cusp of his adulthood, and he's had a lot of quite a journey with this group. And we will see where it takes him from here.
Absolutely. Now he and Henrietta, go back a ways, and you've had a reunion in hell, unexpected, and now you find yourselves fighting on the same side again after not briefly. So there's a little bit of tension there as well. And with that, I suppose we know enough to dive back into Descent into Avernus. Let's do this thing.
All right, where do you want to start us off?
The city of
I actually
Elturel.
hadn't.
Oh, sorry, was that Jay?
Sorry, nothing.
Okay.
Continue.
The city of Elturel hovers above you. Most of the party, 2 people away. The rest of you sitting on these strange, infernal machines. Horseless carriages that rumble and shake as they rattle their way, belching smoke and dust behind them. You're circling the city at this point, at least the side of the sticks accessible to you. Your strange companions, these 2 Kenku, Clonk and Chonk, I believe it is. I need to look that up again. 2 Kenku driving. One of them clutching off the front, kind of manning a small ballista. The other one steering the wheel. Rattling back and forth in the kind of rough seats. A bench are 3 people. Well, 2 currently. Fenris, looking up towards the hovering island of a city high up in the air, the infernal chains anchoring it to these large infernal iron towers, this mechanism of some sort ratcheting it down little by little, link by link. The chain links are almost a good 10 feet long, each barbed and spiked and jagged, and you can see these chains fairly swarming with demons as they climb up out of the river Styx and try to swarm up to claim the prize that hovers above the river. The local devils, arranged in ranks, although outnumbered, more organized, driving them back from the bank. You find yourselves in a hellish, war-torn landscape. The eternal war between demons and devils. The mortals above hanging like such ripe fruit, reinforcements potentially for the devils, and just raw, unmitigated fruit, food for the demons, the scent of which seems to linger almost in the air to them as they claw their way out of the red river and ascend the chains. Your machines rattle around, a second one piling in behind, on which cling several different red caps, these little gnomish type fey creatures dangling off the side, giggling madly in the rumbling, almost drowned out by the rumbling engine. A flame skull named Barnabas driving the second one, hovering in this platform above it, the machine responding to his will. On that machine, Henrietta rattling back and forth, and Archibald sitting on the seat on the opposite side. Red caps crawling along the machines, not just totally immune to the potential danger of falling off these machines and getting dashed on the rocks or eaten by demons. You're circling, trying not to let the demons or devils get a good look at you or get too close. You're waiting. Your 2 companions ascended probably a good 15 minutes ago, maybe 20 now. The Kenku looks back at Fenris. Take her to the boss, with a shrug.
Not yet. We still have to wait for the other 2 to get back.
And the other one reaches over and goes, "It's your funeral." The Kenku, unable to speak for themselves, picked up a collection of phrases that they get to toss around.
They'll be back. We just have to wait a bit longer. While I'm waiting, I want to look at... I recall on our first attempt there was a devil with a banner.
Mm-hmm.
I want to observe how the devils are moving based off of the movements of this, I guess, general and the banner this person is waving.
The general, and that's a pretty good nickname for him. The general is hovering above, flanked by a cadre of other flying devils. You make out several spine devils and a few larger ones. Every once in a while, a horned devil, much more massive, much more dangerous, as you discovered earlier. This appears to be a horned devil, and as you get a closer look at it, roll the perception check. I'm not giving you that for free. You're like, damn it.
Oakley dokley.
Is that okay for everybody?
Just me.
Anyone down there can, actually, depending on...
A 9.
All right, so you don't get a good look at it, but it's the size of some of the other horned devils that you see flying up there. But there's something a little different about it. It's definitely carrying this large banner. Every once in a while, it'll pass it off to this spine devil nearby, but for the most part, it's near the banner or wielding it. But there's something about it that doesn't match what the others do. I mean, for one thing, it's hard to make out the horns at this distance. There seems to be, I don't know, it's something, I don't know, it's hard to say exactly, but its head looks a little different.
Okay.
The Flame Skull Barnabas looking back and forth between the terrain and then checking in with Henrietta, who was chatting with him before, looks over and mutters to Henrietta, "Well, I hope that your friend knows what he's doing. The longer we stay here, the more likely we're going to attract attention." His 2 teeth that were knocked out in battle with you whistling in the gap, his tongue kind of pawing at it.
Do you have an estimate about how long it would take to get up there?
By flying, I don't know. They should be up there already. I mean, I think they went over the lip. You did see them get up to level with it and disappear from sight, but it's also really hard to see those two, being alternatively invisible anytime the dim light dips over into a dark shadow. You sent the Shadow Monk and the Gloomstalker Ranger.
Yeah, I'm just saying that seems like it hasn't been too long for us to think that they'd not be back yet.
All right, that's fine, but we don't have just devils and demons to worry about. If another warlord gets wind that we're down here for too long, they might send some of their troopers. Yeah, you don't want to attract too much attention down here, not without a place to get to.
I attract attention wherever I go, so...
The Flame Skull pivots around and takes in Archibald. Yes, you certainly do. Oh, one sec, and a mage hand appears in front of you, just in front of your face for a second, obviously controlled by the Flame Skull, and it quickly just adjusts your wig for you a little bit, because it had been flipping up a little bit when the wind as you're driving
Well,
past.
how long have we been down here for?
In hell, or?
Yeah.
Oh, I have
Yeah.
been in hell for-
Days.
You've been in hell for several days now, most of it up in Elturel, but when you were swarmed in the High Hall, both demons and devils came to attack you, and it was outnumbered, outgunned, Casimays and horned devils and chain devil after chain devil, and finally, at Felice's help, your old man, the old man who has been this very strange, forgetful ally from back on the mortal plane, at Felice's help, managed to transform back into a Hollyphant, a weird miniature elephant mammoth creature that is celestial in nature, sometimes used as a mount by higher ranking celestials. A powerful ally, except this one, the memory is twisted and broken, and the abilities are, let's say, patchy at best. And at the very last second, as the demons and devils swarmed in and grabbed onto Ben Coom, dragging him, literally playing tug of war with him, or maybe he was tugging on them to keep them from the rest of the party, the Hollyphant, suddenly the eyes focused, this air around it crackling with energy, and the whole party, minus Bencoom, teleported to the surface below where Elturel was. Far from danger, at least the immediate danger. But leaving Bencoom to, well, an unknown fate. That was about an hour ago.
So we've been down here for like a couple days. My wig is probably like pretty messed up and all this kind of stuff. So at this point in time, Archibald's actually just gonna be Archie. And he's just like, he just takes off his fucking wig, he takes off his like lilac jacket, the lace, all that stuff. He basically just puts on his one leather glove. He's got his just the equipment that he needs, and he just kind of folds it up and he puts it aside for now.
Absolutely. Archibald is dressing for business.
Or he just ran out of powder for his wig. Either or.
He's like, you know, when we get back to the surface, I am going to buy myself some new clothes.
All right, friend.
Wait and see.
Good luck to you with that one. I've been down here for, I think 70, maybe 80 years now, says the undead sentient skull hovering in front of you.
I would actually think that you would be a lot older.
I was gonna say something similar, no offense, but you told me you're from Xenix, was it?
Yes, that's right, Xenix.
Hasn't been around for a lot longer than that.
Oh. Well, time does do funny things between the planes, but also, I was only down here for 70 or 80 years. I was up there longer than that, even like this.
Are you lying to us?
You can do an insight check if you want.
I will. This will be with a +1. A 20.
Oh, go ahead.
A 20.
A 20. Yep.
Nice.
So 21.
He appears to be entirely telling the truth. He's been in hell for about what he says, but a flame skull for probably longer.
Okay.
Let's cut back to the High Hall. Farah, the half-orc guardian acolyte of the last remaining of the clergy in the High Hall, has been gathering refugees and hiding them down below. They're still hidden, she tells Darmita and Falurie, protected by the sacrifice of the party, and in particular Bencoom, as he was taken. I didn't look, but I heard the chain devils drag him away. And I heard the woman, Sarnia, he called her. I heard her laughing, her heels clicking as she left.
Do you recall which direction they were heading?
I'm sorry, I couldn't dare look, but they left out the front doors. They could be anywhere by now. That was half an hour, maybe more.
Can I, this may not be possible because of the environment, but would there be any way that I could somehow try to ascertain from footprints or anything like that directionality?
Absolutely. Go ahead and roll a survival check with advantage. It is technically your favorite. Even though the hall isn't your favored terrain, you are tracking some of your favored creatures.
Favorite
Your
terrain is
favorite
the hall.
prey. My favorite terrain is church.
But we did establish that down. Maybe the hall isn't, but this environment in general is. So
Fiendish
just
things are your prey. So
Yeah.
go ahead. Oh, 20. Is that your 21 or is that Archie's? I can't see that from here.
That one's mine.
Oh, nice. All right, so that's a pretty good result. So you begin tracking on the floor, you noting the scratch marks where the etched chains are, the fall of where the maul that Ben Kum dropped was and is now strapped to your back. You gather where you actually see the corpse of the Horned Devil, badly beaten and torn, teeth marks and arrows, and the one that you guys managed to drop before you were overwhelmed. You can see drag marks of a heavy something was dragged here. You see footmarks, the occasional chain link, and you see blood. You see red, unfiendish blood on the ground. Drops pretty profusely. This is probably Ben Kum's blood. It tracks all the way back to the entrance to the main hall, out into the foyer. Falurie, can you do a perception check for me?
Can.
And are you going to go with her as she leaves the hall? She's frantically doing this search almost with disregard for the rest of her surroundings.
Actually, one thing I do before, when I first discover that blood at that point, as I'm kind of going toward the entryway or whatever, I'm just going to go up to one of the kind of carcasses or bodies and literally just as hard as I can hoof it.
Absolutely.
Just out of anger, frustration, sadness, whatever.
Sure,
you call it what
you walk up to the body of the Horned Devil, which is the nearest big thing, and it's laying down. Its chest is almost as high as your waist. This is a large thing. Its wings crumpled and splayed out underneath it. Its head turned to the side, and it's actually oozing stuff out of its head from where Fenris's spell just messed up its brain with psychic damage. And you just haul back and kick this thing. You're a little surprised. I guess they decompose in a strange kind of way. Not quite like demons where they turn to ichor right away, but you kick it super hard in the ribs and expect it to stay, and it punches it whole through like an old piñata. Your foot digging in further than you expected, the ribs snapping satisfactorily. And then when you pull your feet back and you're just standing there for a second and you see the wound that was there, you see this where your foot had punched a hole through. You see these teeth start to extend, and it just starts to kind of slowly gnaw. It's not alive, it's not moving. Besides this, you just see this mouth from within. It takes a few little twitches and then lays still.
Okay, creepy.
It is almost Halloween. All right. If you want to follow the trail, you do have a fairly good idea of where it goes from outside of the hall. And Falurie, you don't see shit. With a 7.
No, but I do turn invisible, and I'll follow Darmita as she goes, because she's trying to find Ben Kum, what happened, and I know who's responsible. I'm interested as well.
Absolutely. As you disappear right in front of her, Farah's like, oh, I guess sure. She calls back after Darmita, the only one she can just barely see. I'm sorry. We'll stay here, and if you need us, you know how to find us. And if you find a way out, okay, you're gone now. All right, so the two of you exit the high hall, the sky roiling above you with that reddish look. You can hear the din of battle below, and having seen it now, you can actually picture it a lot better. It's much more disturbing knowing what to picture is going on within a quarter mile, like directly below you. You're looking around, you see a few flocks of demons and devils flying around in the sky at range, but nothing appears in this area. You track as far as they go to the edge of one of these rivers. The rivers of just outside of the high hall, there's a perimeter wall. You're familiar with it, and the gates are now tossed open. You follow it out there. The blood drip, drip, drip along the ground. You track it through this main courtyard, this main boulevard, to where this was once probably a beautiful river passage with a bridge leading over. Not the main channel between the parts of the city, but a smaller channel, sort of like Venice, with these inroads of rivers used for small boats. But the water is now evaporated off, and in its place you see this roiling, flickering flame. This whatever magic pulled it here has converted most of these rivers to lava and magma burning below. The trail leads right up to this and then stops at the edge of the bridge, just off to the left. It looks like they entered the river or something on the river. It's going to be really hard to track them from here. You could go further into the city back towards the cemetery, or you could go the other way back towards the main chasm that you bridged earlier. Down below, it's been 20 minutes.
Falurie, this is it.
Falurie appears beside you.
Not necessarily appear. I can still talk.
That's fair. Just
so
painting a picture, man. It's all good. The voice.
I'm believing that because she knew Falurie was there, she knows Falurie can disappear. She assumed Falurie was there.
Yeah. So, we've seen where they were heading off, at least in a better direction than we knew previously. We know the strength of these individuals, so to go ahead just us two would be foolish, I say. So I say that we go back to our friends and see what we can do about bringing them back here, or carrying on with what was it, Mad Maggie? So what do you say?
Fine. We'll go back. Whatever.
And hey, you and me are looking for the same person. Trust me, it pains me to leave as well. But there's no point in bringing back a target if I'm not there myself to collect the reward. So.
Do you get your reward whether she's dead or alive?
At this point, I don't give a shit.
I'll make you a deal. You let me kill her, and then you can collect the bounty on her. I don't care about money, but I do want that bitch dead.
I would have to take part in it. I cannot just go and take someone else's kill as a bounty.
Consider your part, allowing it to be mine.
Not quite. I will assist.
As you're making your way towards the edge to return to the party below, Darmita, how long do your flying boots last once activated? 4
hours.
4 hours. Okay, yeah, they're still up and running. So you're able to fly there, no problem. Which, if you stay low, just above kind of the ground level, to avoid any roaming bearded devils that might be down there. But you managed to fly to the edge, looking out over and kind of the breath catches in your throat as you just force yourself off the edge of this floating island, half a mile up or a quarter mile up in the air, and just the hellscape below you is breathtaking and terrifying in its scope. Are you heading straight back?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would think so.
Do one more perception check for me, either with advantage or roll each.
Falurie, do you have a preference?
Go ahead, I'll help you.
The two of you hovering within arm's reach. For speed, you've been locking arms so that Falurie's faster speed is able to drag you along.
12.
12. You know where you left. You orient yourself quickly enough to know where you left the party below on the infernal machines. However, you don't see them where they were. It's going to take a little bit to try and meet up with them.
Would that not qualify as a survival check because I'm trying to track or kind
Sure.
of distinguish something?
Sure, you can go ahead and do a survival check as well.
I'm just curious.
This was just straight up, can you see them from where your vantage point is?
Okay.
But if you
Now
want to
you
try
gotta
to...
start tracking.
Now you have to start tracking. Meanwhile, below, as they begin their tracking, she'll do her survival check. The rest of you have had a chance to catch your breath, recoup a little bit. Archibald, this is probably the first time in a while you've been able to you've met Henrietta now, but you don't know her that well as you both rattle along in this machine side by side or near to each other.
Is there any booze?
Leave what you brought with you is all you got. So you
Well,
can take a
then
nip
it's
every
gone.
once in a
Then there's
while,
no
but
booze.
yeah.
Anyway, I guess we'll just wait for them to come back, and I'm sure I'd have like a little bit of tobacco of some kind or something going on there, so
Absolutely. So
I'll have a little pipe.
you've noticed this ever since you came to hell in the first place, but the alcohol in your flask turned sour, and not in a good way, not in like a sour beer kind of way, like a, this is just, it's like the worst bottom inch of the beer all the time. And even then.
Yeah.
But it's, beggars can't be choosers at the same time. The tobacco, you roll it and bump along. Actually, I'm gonna say your dexterity is high enough. You can roll it, no problem. Into
One-handed.
okay, now do a dex check. Now that you're showing off.
Well, I guess, can I use sleight of hand?
Sure.
18.
Nice. All right, so you roll you're one-handed. You do have to grab on at one point as the machine rocks, and you look down, and it actually was some kind of demon that the thing ran over, and the red cap's howling in hilarity. And you now have a tobacco, and Barnabas looks over at you and goes, "Oh, I haven't seen that in a long time. You want a light?"
Don't mind if I do.
As you hold it out, he squints a little bit, and a flame bolt goes right across in front of you, and just ticking the end. Well, actually, I suppose I better roll. It is a moving machine. Okay, it just hits the end of it, lighting it on fire. You kind of blow it out and take a haul.
He's like, I might keep you around.
Well, if you give me a drag on that, I'll drive you wherever you need. Well,
Tell you what, you can have it.
what? You?
Yo, Finn.
Thank you.
Said. The cigarette is loaded, about halfway through.
That's all right. Yeah, being in hell, there's weird things that happen to food and beverages and apparently tobacco as well. So you pass this over to Barnabas, and he takes the mage hand appears to kind of steady it now, so you don't have to hold it for him. And he takes this long, appreciative haul, the smoke billowing out of his ears and out of his neck hole, and you see him go, "Oh, that's been a long time." And then, and he just keeps it floating there. And even though the tobacco has turned sour and more sulfurous than normal, he does seem to appreciate the gesture. Don't worry, I won't forget you, and he's just not halfway yet. All right. Meanwhile, back at after a few moments, how'd that turn out for your survival check there, Bela?
18.
With advantage. Nice. All right. After a little while, you can kind of track the movements of the devils, and eventually you pick up a dust cloud, and you zoom in on that. After a few minutes later, you guys come descending out of the sky, next to invisible most of the time. Every once in a while, flicker of lightning will illuminate things, and you'll just be almost like these reverse shadows, almost like my hand in the green screening here. You just pop into existence and then fade away again. And you do manage to catch up with these infernal machines, although they are going fast on a turn, and just land down on them. Which one do you want to land? Well, I guess you're probably going to the one you were on before. All right. Falurie, you've been flying between the two of them, so you can decide where you want to go.
I'm just hovering over the Kenkus, just scaring them for a little bit. And then
you drop the invisibility, and the one that you pooed on in the last one, and the last time, it looks up at you and calls up.
Yeah, don't do anything this time, and just
kind of looks around for this cover that normally covers the ballista and pulls it over its head like a cloak.
That's right.
Even bird people poo in the air?
Yeah, he pooped on the bird.
Yeah, I tried giving them inspiration. It didn't work.
Yeah, is that like when you get shit on by a bird, it's like good luck?
Exactly.
Right. Fun.
The Arakocra dive bombed the Kenku. Anyway, so Darmita managed to catch her footing on the machine, and Fenris, she's back next to you. The Holophant sleeping soundly, curled up on the seat between the two of you.
Just look over silently. Do I see any sign of Benkun?
Nope.
Do I see them all?
Yes, it's hard to hide. There is a large maul, a familiar weapon, strapped to Darmita's back.
I just stare a long moment. I turn to the Kenku. Take us to your boss. And I just look away.
Take us to your boss. And with that, the machine roars to... It pulls a lever. The machine roars to life with this loud roar. You actually can kind of pick out almost a wordless screech or cry as it rumbles to life, and you go tearing off across. Mm-hmm.
So I didn't recognize the face on the coin.
That's right.
I want to spend a plot point to, I don't know if I can try to roll again or recognize the scream. Like, who is this person?
Okay, so plot point, it works. So you hear the scream and it sounds oddly familiar, and you're like, what is that sound? I've heard that sometime before. And as the landscape rushes around you and the machines rumble, you're taken back. You're like, wait a minute, I know that sound. That was the sound deep beneath Salem Rock, in the prison complex. There was a room where they were piling bodies, and they'd bring prisoners down, and they would interrogate them, and they would tie them and chain them on the walls. And by the time you got there, almost all of them were dead, including this little girl, fallen next to the large body of her father. The Knight interrogator of the Eye of Pelor standing above them with this dripping dagger, having just slit both of their throats. You managed to kill them all, and you remember that. But just before you entered the room, you'd heard a scream. It was a throatier scream. It was her father's scream, as he bellowed and she screamed back. And you were too late to save him, but one of your allies managed to heal her enough to keep her alive after the fight, or during the fight, actually. Having lost a parent yourself, both parents, right in front of you, you recognize that anguish scream. You had to catch it in your own throat to not give away your position. You know the sound of that scream. That's a scream of a tortured soul. You swear to God that was his scream that echoed out of the machine. And then you're back, rumbling along. The coin lodged deep in the machine. You have one of these coins in your purse, and you pull it out, and, well, if you want to, you can inspect it.
Sure.
On one side is the emblazoned visage of and form of Asmodeus, the highest of all the archdevils, ruler of all the 9 hells. And you turn over this large coin. It's almost palm-sized. On the other side, another face. This one unfamiliar. Looks vaguely elven. And extremely sad. Etched in the metal, unmoving.
While we're driving, I guess I'm just going to spend some time trying to figure out this coin.
Sure.
It seems to be capturing the souls of people.
Mm-hmm.
And see if I can even communicate with the soul within. Even.
Sure. Go ahead and do an Arcana check for me.
Sure. Just check. $11.
Okay. It doesn't appear to be moving, or even strictly speaking. I mean, there are some runes on it, but it doesn't appear to be something you could activate this way. It's not a spell or a scroll. It doesn't appear to be sentient, although the one side, there is a bit of a trick of the eye with the Asmodeus side. When you when you look right at it, it is very still. And when you look up, by the way, you do hear that voice calling out Archibald and Henrietta as you're rumbling along on this machine, kind of mumbling away, this high-pitched calling voice. And Barnabas kind of looks over and goes, thought up, and then keeps on going.
Any idea what that is, Barnabas?
What? What's where?
That noise.
Oh, don't mind that. That's just the map. I know where I'm going. I don't need to consult with that mad idiot. And he motions towards this satchel kind of sitting up near the top of the machine. And you can make out there is a scroll case rattling along, well secured, but it is poking out of the top of this bag. Meanwhile, Fenris, you can't quite puzzle out how this works, but you do get the idea it is some kind of enchantment. At which point, the Kenku kind of glances at you holding this thing, and it goes, best 2 out of 3. Right. Keep it good. What's mine is yours.
That's what's written on it. In a fashion.
In a fashion.
What is it? Can I persuade them to tell me what it is?
He seems a little bit at a loss of how to explain it. So instead he goes to the sign language, which is a little tricky trying to steer the thing and do sign language at the same time. Go ahead and do an intelligence check to see if you can figure out what he's signing.
Okay. Haven't been rolling amazing, but 16.
All right.
Finally, good roll.
You can see him kind of motioning to himself, and then like it's grabbing motion, and then he
like
points
solving
into what would be the coin. He's like, 1 for 1.
Is this willing?
Ah!
No, huh?
Ah! Motions around to the hellscape around it with a shrug.
Okay.
And then he does this little hand motion like, sometimes.
Sometimes. Okay.
And then
These power your machines?
Ah. These power our machine, your machine. It's tough to remember what you say to say back to you.
Yeah.
They probably know yes and no. People say that all the time.
Yes.
It's less fun though.
Okay. I'll just keep studying the coin and trying to see if there's anything I can figure out with it,
Sure.
even if it some kind of use besides powering the machine. It might have a number of uses, and even if there's a way to kind of free it.
All right.
So I'll just spend my time studying.
You can keep on studying it.
I'll keep studying.
All right. Darmita, what are you doing on this ride? It's a fairly long ride out over the plains, away from the sticks, into the dusty landscape and broken teeth of mountains around it.
So I went back to the same machine I was on, which means the old man is on that one
Mm-hmm.
because I was him. Is there any way I can position myself or sit close to where he's at? Is he back in
Of the old man? Yeah, he's currently in Hollyphant form, so he's like a miniature mammoth, fuzzy and oddly still sort of looks like the old man when you look at his face. That kind of elongated chin with the tuft of beard, and he is sleeping soundly. He's breathing fine. Doesn't appear to be badly injured or anything. But doesn't really stir much when you kind of rest it on your lap or in the rattling just to make sure it doesn't fall off the seat. And it doesn't appear injured, but it is sleeping and kind of at your touch kind of nuzzles a little bit in. All right.
Sorry,
That's
there's
okay.
chaos here for a minute. I'll just watch him sleep at this point.
Absolutely.
And I'm gonna go.
No problem. All right, so the rest of you, unless you want to do something else, you get quite a long ride across the desert and kind of doze off or stare at the hellscape as the city recedes behind you.
Yeah, there's
I'm
probably
gonna,
a moment. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I'll chain smoke and try to make friends with Barnabas.
Deal. Go ahead and roll a persuasion check for me with advantage. You're sharing your smokes.
So it's gonna be harder to get a
this
word in
point.
edgewise with him.
Yeah. At about this point, okay, so you're chatting with him, and Barnabas takes another haul on the cigarette, the mage hand holding it, and he's like, and it spits a little bit, which does sparks all across the ground, across the machine front where it spits. And
I want to try to convince him to be able to come back with us home when we're done.
So you want me to go on a tour of the mortal realms? That's hilarious. I'll just bang, and the the cigarette explodes in his mouth, and you see this blackened. He's missing 2 front teeth, and the other teeth all up the side are now charred black as the tobacco must have weird chemical reaction with having transitioned into hell exploded like one of those trick cigars all up the side of its face. Barnabas kind of flickers for a second, the whole machine shuddering, turning hard left for a second and then back, and then he gives his head a shake and looks at you like, what was that?
I didn't do it on purpose. Just think it's a good
Yeah,
time
right
as
there.
Oh, well, that one had a kick to it. Whew. Ugh.
Tell you what, come back with us and we'll have a great time.
Yeah, sure thing, buddy. You'll be lucky to survive the day. I mean, not for months or anything, but you're in hell now. But I'll make you a deal. If we end up back, you could throw me a good time.
We'll do. And
Oh.
we'll do.
Although, I could use a quick... And he kind of hovers low, and you can see a lever on the machine go into almost like a lower gear, so it's just kind of cruising, falling a bit back. And he hovers in a little bit closer to you and goes, You haven't seen any teeth around, have you? My teeth?
I'll keep my eye open.
I think one of these little bastards took it. And he points towards one of the red cap, and there's 2 red caps literally hanging off the front bumper, being like, and laughing at each other. And every once in a while, they look back at Barnabas, and they stick their tongue out like, and then go back to riding frontwards.
You know how they ended up here anyway?
Oh, there. The map every once in a while chimes in as you change locations, and like it oddly seems to know where you are, but it is the rambling coming out of this scroll case is distracting. And then it quiets down for a while to the hum of the engine. Barnabas turns to Henrietta. I'm sorry, what did you say?
Yeah. Am I aware enough about red caps that I can refer to them by name, or I don't know?
I think you would probably recognize.
Awareness.
Yeah, you would know them as red caps.
Cool, yeah. The red caps here, where they how'd they get down here? How'd they end up with you?
Well, they didn't come with me. We all, I think they came with Maggie, the boss. She's not from down here either, and I'm pretty sure they come when she calls them. But
All right then. Doesn't seem like the most reliable help, but beggars can't be choosers, right? Like as you said.
well, this makes a strange bedfellows. You got another cigarette? I'd love one. All right, and cut. So we're going to flash forward. After a long ride, most of you doze off, and I mean, some of you take turns taking watch or whatever it happens to be. You come rattling along, and the machines suddenly kind of slow, not quite to a halt, but they slow up next to each other, and the din of the engines gets lower. And the Kenku point forward, and the red caps start hopping madly up and down, and Barnabas turns to the rest of you and in a louder voice calls out, Welcome to Fort Knucklebone. Best place in hell.
By best, do you mean worst?
No, I think I actually mean best. I've been a few places, and this one's not the worst. Hang on. And the machine kicks back to gear. You guys go rattling in, and as you round this this kind of overpass and go down into this valley, you see below a plain stretching out for quite a long distance, and in the middle is this hand-like protrusion, as though this massive stone arm had reached up out of the sky, even larger than Elturel at some places, and comes slamming back down to rest flat against the plane. And the rest of the arm seems to have rotten away or worn away over time, and just the fingers remain, and the hand, the shape of this large outcropping. It's ringed by this strange-looking wall of debris and stone and iron and twisted links of chain piled high. The machines go tearing down towards it.
Sorry, were we able to get a long rest?
Not a long rest, not yet, but a short rest to get here. It was probably at least maybe 2 hours.
Okay.
As you guys go tearing down the hill and you approach, you see the machines kind of arc a little bit off to the left and then up the main ramp towards the wall, and it is definitely made out of debris. And along the edge, you can see these little figures kind of hopping and skittering, and you make out the distinct. Oh, yep, definitely wearing some red hats. It's not huge by any chance. Like the mountainous part of it, it rises up above in the background. But the whole thing is probably only about, the size of maybe a city block or smaller contained within the ring. And then the kind of rise of the hand-like mountain in the middle is a bit larger in the center. But it's a large camp encircled. You see the machines come tearing up and pull up to a gate, and this makeshift gate in this wall with these large it actually looks like pieces of other infernal machines that have been welded together with links of chain kind of overlapping in the middle. And I don't mean the small one, I mean the 10-foot links, to make a kind of perimeter wall. And up on the wall, you can see these crazed redcaps dancing back and forth, some of them chucking stones, a few of them firing crossbows at and like just in front of the machines. The machines grind to a halt, and the redcaps call out, "Hey, what's the password?" And the Kenku kind of stop and look at each other, and then they look at Fenris and then Darmita, and they kind of just shrug, and they're like, "See the boss." And the redcaps they call back out, "What's the password? We changed it when you left."
We are new here. We know nothing of passwords.
We know nothing. And the two Kenku kind of look back and say, "We know nothing." And the Kenku, the Kenku next to the ballista cocks it and fires a bolt into the wall and sticks a good foot next to where one of these redcap is standing, and the thing falls back howling, and three more call out and say, "All right, yeah," and another one replies, "Oh yeah, we don't have a password." And they open up the gate and let you guys roll on in.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are admitted into the courtyard, and you can see the red caps mustering up. There's a few other odds, bits and bobs of some humanoids. There's not too many people here, but there are quite a few red caps and a couple of human type looking people. They don't seem very verbose. They just kind of come shambling out, going about their business, dragging lumps of iron and whatever kinds of scraps and sacks they can carry around. The machines kind of shudder to a halt there, and then finally, after such a long time, it's almost deafening when they drop silent.
So, Barnabas, are these people that we see all around us, are they people who have committed sins? Or are they people who have sold their souls, or what?
Well,
I want to know.
You don't get to hell for nothing. He's busy smoking another one of your cigarettes. He's like, but no, everyone here is here because either they serve Mad Maggie or nobody's here who can't carry their weight. This is not a charity.
I just want to be okay when I die.
Well, that, I'm afraid, is above my pay grade. And he goes hovering off the machine and goes off towards one of the little hovels. There's various tents and ramshackle huts pieced together with shards of metal, the occasional bit of wood petrified in the area. They just kind of go about their business, but a couple of the redcaps are keeping a pretty close eye on you. The Kenku hop off the machine and they point at Fenris, Darmita, and in particular at Lulu, as you know, the old man, aka Hollyphant, and they kind of do this motioning. See the boss. And the other one calls out and says,
Is the elephant awake?
It is not. You could try rousing it if you like.
I come over. Oh, go ahead.
I step off the machine and kind of stretch and I look at the others. Just
Yeah. Sort of walk over. I don't really get a time to talk about what happened. How'd it go up there?
You can tell him.
You all kind of gather up. Their silence speaks, and Ben Coom's absence does speak for them. Do you want to say anything back?
You alright? Still people up there worth saving? Well, not worth, but to be saved.
The villagers and innocents are all still there. They're still in hiding where we left them.
Alright.
And Farah's with them. She said that if we figure a way out of here, we know where to find them.
Hopefully she can keep them safe till then.
They should be.
I'll go to pick up Lulando to Stando Sana Nasuma. Yeah, that's it. Unless anyone stops me. Just gonna...
Henrietta is the bulkiest of all of you. She's, I mean, it's the Hollyphant is probably the size of a very large dog. A little more rotund and round, not quite so long as like a Great Dane or anything, but you probably can lift him. I mean, you can go ahead and roll a strength check if you like. In the book,
sure.
It's a her. That's one of those things I house ruled. I homebrewed some of this.
Strength check, just a flat strength.
Yep.
What did I get? I'll look at the page. It's only an 11.
Well, it's a bit of a struggle, but you do manage to kind of lift her up. With a little bit of assistance, you could probably carry Lulu along just fine.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's more of a raw strength thing. And wasn't an outright failure, and I got the strength for it. So.
You're going to be moving at about half speed at this point. Just kind of.
I already am. Yeah, that's probably what it really is. I'm just like,
All right.
I really didn't need to rest.
You're exhausted, aren't you? You have one level of exhaustion.
Yeah.
All right. So after a few,
two, you maniac.
you get the rest of you are just kind of taking in this strange camp that is definitely going about its business and keeping very busy. The Kenku, kind of one of them, the smaller of them, stays with you, and the bigger one goes kind of doing this little weird hop skip that the bird people do. Arakocra aside, the Kenku do this little hop off to this one of the larger structures nearby. This kind of nestled just in between the fingers, as though it was almost like a ring stuck off one of the fingers of the outcroppings, and disappears into a tent-like structure there for a few minutes. After a little while, you see the tent full flap fly back, and you see this fiendish, easily 12, maybe 14 foot tall, hulking structure come bending out from underneath this, and pulls back this and stands up tall. And even though you've seen horrible things since you've come to hell, what you see before you takes you aback. There's this weird creature. It seems to be an amalgamation of demon parts and these large insectile horns, probably the horns of a horn devil, but its skull-like face with these long pointed ears seems almost like that of a bone devil. The spiky shoulder of a bone devil, one arm, a leg or two, and yet stitched together with these other strange parts. One leg moving normally, the other one bending with the reverse kind of knee step of an insectine creature. It comes hobbling out with this obvious like shudder hop, and then it opens its kind of mouth, doing the whole sideways open thing, and this incredibly long maggot-like tongue comes like blurring out of this thing, almost like a leech or a worm, easily as thick as its legs, comes pouring out of its mouth hole and starts wrapping around and licking away at its own torso. At one point it finds a slight opening in the ribcage and licks its way inside and kind of nestles in, sort of like someone almost with the casualness of putting your hand in your own pocket. But this is this maggot-like tongue reaching into its own ribcage to find a comfortable spot to rest, and this large creature comes and then stands up tall. It's probably closer to 14 or 15 feet, and it stands in front, taking you all in. There's no emotion in its eyes. You all stand at this thing, staring back at this strange creature, and you almost don't see this other comparatively smaller creature, but still a good 9 feet tall. Creatures, other shapes step out from behind this pieced together golem-like being. The shorter creature, also decorative horns and little bits and pieces of scavenged cloth and demonic bits and devil pieces making up a vestment, robes, tattered, flowing down low. The bottoms all torn and not feathered, but like into little strips. Long, elongated fingers, hunched back, just the hair kind of twisting and just a rat's nest of hair dangling off of this twisted kind of pained, pinched face. And she takes you in and raises these goggles off of her head. And the Kenku come out and do a little bow in front of you and point to her, and the larger one says, "Take her to the boss."
Is Barnabas still here?
Barnabas, he seems to be kind of scouting out around an infernal machine right now, just kind of poking away, and he sticks his head up. He's not in immediate earshot.
Right, okay, so he just like left us to it. They didn't like come and introduce us.
No, but the Kenku are kind of making the
sure.
introduction. The smaller one standing in front of you, the larger one standing near who you presume is Mad Maggie. Who is trained in Arcana or religion?
Religion.
Okay, if you're trained, you can go ahead and roll.
All right. Let's...
Ooh. Who got the 20?
20 religion.
Nice.
Oh,
No, I don't have a 20 though because I have disadvantage.
Oh, right. So, the highest you got was a 14, and everyone else was below that. All right. This strange creature seems like something out of an, almost like something out of a strange little nightmare, but normally it would be terrifying. This large, hulking woman with these, boils and rotten teeth. But next to this hulking mass next to her, she almost seems almost like she's not as threatening, but by comparison, normally she's the stuff of nightmare. And she comes walking forward and pats the big thing on the leg, and it kind of shuffles to the side and looks at her and then looks back at the rest of you. And it does do this hopping, lurching step to keep a little bit between you and her, but she's kind of walking forward. She calls out, "Ah, yes. And what do we have here?" And the Kenku croaks, and she's like, "Yes, yes." She does a little half-hearted sign. "Does it speak?" And she looks at the rest of you.
Yeah, we speak. Nice to meet you.
It is a pleasure. Welcome to my humble abode. This is Fort Knucklebone. And I am the matron here. What brings you begging from a warlord of Avernus?
Your Kenku asked us to come here. Apparently someone in our group crossed paths with them at some point. And I just kind of motioned to the holly font.
And Henrietta kind of...
Yeah.
And this is the first time Mad Maggie's turned her attention towards Henrietta and the holly font. And she, roll an insight check.
Who's rolling the insight check? Me?
Fenris. Everyone else
Okay.
is taking it, and the red caps have now kind of ceased their ramblings around, and the whole camp just kind of comes in and starts, not in a threatening way, but just kind of hanging around the peripheral, keeping a close eye on all of you, and you're suddenly aware you're very surrounded. How'd you do? 14? She looks at the Kenku and looks down. A funny creature to find in the hells, to be sure. But I did not ask about the creature. I asked about you. What brings you to such a place?
I assume that you've heard of Elturel. What's happened there?
I am aware of it.
Oh, actually, I assume you probably know more than I do. But
That is
Came down on
probably
that wrong.
wise.
trying to see if we can figure out how to get it back up.
Am I to surmise that you are all Elturelians? Elturites? Food? Fodder?
I only happened to be there when it fell. The rest of us, not so much.
I suppose I am sorry for you. Then, some creatures choose to come here. Others can be persuaded. But a precious many find themselves here against their will.
It's safe to assume that all you and your kind are here before your time, as it were.
Oh,
You properly died, whatever
I
the devil and demon, right?
am not dead, as you can see. And the rest of the party, and the red caps chitter and laugh at that, and they all howl, and they're not dead. And the Kenku even chuckle at that. She's like, no, I have my pursuits, and they brought me here.
Right. So you're not actually looking for a way back out, content with this life.
It serves me well enough.
Oddly enough, that's what I wanted to hear. Because if you were trying to leave, there's a good chance you would have already.
There are ways, I am aware. But such things, they come with a price, or few are willing to pay, or have means. Many have already bartered their best away before arriving. So, you are city fallen. Is that all of you?
No, not me.
You smell of the clouds.
Very perceptive.
A cousin
I
of
came
yours.
here by mistake.
She tells the Kenku. Yes, many do. Well, it's been a long time since I have been to the clouds, to the airplane, to the plane of air. The airplane, that's a foolish thing, a dream.
Some of us have different business here.
Precisely.
I'm looking for a location.
Hmm.
Do you know of a place called the Bleeding Citadel? And I actually look to see if she's reacting to that name.
She looks a little puzzled. And things go by many names here. And they don't tend to stay in one place. Navigating the hells is a difficult task. If you are with one who has been to a location, it is easy to find. This is how the Kenku could bring you back to me. But to find such a place, even if I once knew, I'm afraid, might be beyond me alone. I know many things, though, and for the right price, many things can be divined. And
I feel like this is the part where I need to ask you what I know as Hen.
Sure.
Because I
You
believe, if I recall correctly, we know the term Bleeding Citadel because I said it while I was an NPC. So
That's right. You guys are aware that the Hollyphant mentioned going to the Bleeding Citadel.
We saw it.
The old man. And you saw a brief flicker of it in your mind's eye, with the hiding place of the sword of the Eye of Pelor. However,
yeah, my memory was that
at this
the helmet showed it to me or something, or I was told about it. I don't know if I saw it.
Oh,
or
that's
not,
right. You would
or
have
if
seen
was
it directly. You would have seen the flashes of the Hollyphant and some kind of angel-type creature driving the sword, this gleaming bluish golden sword, into the hellscape, and around it, almost like a festering a reaction, a body siphoning off a section of it. The hells, the sword encased in this crystalline, beautiful structure that looked really out of place, and then the hells slowly creeping up around it as though trying to claw it back down and not being successful, but managing to encase it somewhat. The Bleeding Citadel, as the Hells try to claw at this strange splinter of celestial nature driven into it. But you don't have a location. The only one...
So I'll probably will say that, right? Like, she's talking about knowing a location, and I'll say, I've seen it. Pillar showed it to me.
Hello.
Myself, though.
Hello, you say? Well, let's just say that we don't serve around here. But sometimes the divine will serve around here. And the red caps chitter and laugh at that. She kind of starts making this slow, almost grandmotherly walk around, except she's 9 feet tall with a hunch. And her arms are elongated. Her fingers seem to be super long, and then almost like bulbous, like arthritic hands, except that every once in a while they'll bend at the arthritic bump. She's got these fingers that could just almost infinitely flex around something. As she walks around, kind of taking in each of you, she pauses for a time over the Hierophant and says, I know this one. You're right to bring him to me. I mean, really, what do angels and celestials need with penises and vaginas anyway? They can be whatever they wish. So, this one. She looks up at Darmita for a second. Hello, my dear. You positively smell of anger. And what makes one like yourself so very angry, I wonder? Perhaps. And she looks at Archibald for a second and then just dismisses him. Like, just looks at him and just kind of like, oh yeah, you, and walks past him. And then walks around and takes in the rest of you. You are an interesting lot. And she stands up ever so slightly, reaching 10 feet for a second, and then hunches back down. I believe you may have something of value after all. We may be able to help each other, if you wish. The choice is yours.
What is it that you want?
She kind of walks up to you for a second, Fenris, and Henris. That'll be the child that Hen and Fenris have. She cut to that. She walks up to you, her long stringy hair dangling. She's like, she leans way down and she looks you in the eye. Her nose just kind of almost like 6 inches away from yours. Do you know what I am, boy?
Maybe. Do I know when I rolled my Arcana with 14? Yeah.
You had a vague idea. She definitely looks witchy. 14 is probably enough. She is a hag.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, yeah.
A twisted fey creature. Some of them of immense power, but strange. Their motivations are their own. And almost immutable.
Yeah. So I'll just say, yeah, I know.
Well then, you would best know that to ask a question is to pay a price. If you wish to pay that price, then I'm interested. You have something I wish. Some of you more than others. I'm in a good mood today. Fortune
good.
smiles. Mhm.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
I'm just. Is there any way that I can kind of position myself a little bit so that I can get Fenris's glance, but not necessarily hers?
Sure. Yeah, she's
That-
kind of walking around. It's fairly easy to just shuffle a little bit to your left. You can get an eye line with Fenris.
And I'm just gonna give him a look of be careful. Basically.
I probably just get a glance of it and like, yeah, I know. So I would just turn my attention back to her and
Well,
I'll let her talk.
you are with that one, the Hollyphant. And yes, I recognize that creature. Rare in these parts. Very rare.
I step at her saying that, I step in front of the Holophant, like in front of Lulu.
Sure.
And in a guarding pose. Like I want her to know that bothered me.
My dear, I mean this creature. No harm. Nor any of you, unless you bring it to me. But that creature does have something that I do want. I may be able to help you. Has Lulu remembered who it is?
Didn't you just say every question has a price?
Fair enough. Would you like to stay the night? Perhaps we can talk. You can be my guests.
We'd be honored.
Then welcome. Take your pick of tents, and you can join me for dinner. I'll see you all. However, since you're so willing to trade and parley, I will say this. That little creature, when I saw it last, had forgotten everything. This was most disappointing. For what it might know, what I think it might remember, would be very... how do you say? Common is such a clumsy language. Of interest to me. And perhaps to you as well. If you are seeking this bleeding cathedral. We may be able to help each other. And she looks over at Darmita. It would not bring harm to the Hollyphant. Not more than it ever did suffer in remembering. This I can promise you.
Then we're at least willing to talk then.
Good. If what I have in mind... Well, I don't mean to be a bad host. Rest. Eat. You are my guests. Stay and food is free. Drink the water, or whatever else these... my servants have wrestled up in the wastes. And then we can talk. I have a few things to ready, if we are indeed going to help you. Mickey, why don't you show them the tent? And the large hulking flesh golem standing just back there lurches to movement and comes shuffling over and kind of motions in this jerking kind of way, points off towards a small collection of tents and hovels.
Okay. I'll go get a tent. I need rest. I'm putting up a brave face. I don't have much left in me. Like, woo.
You're almost like Archibald over there.
Yeah.
I'll stay up. I won't go in the tent. I'll stay up in a perch somewhere, and I'll keep watch. I mean, I can keep watch for a good little bit before I go down. So
Absolutely. So you guys can arrange a watch. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys arrange a watch system and take your turns, and you can have a long rest, unmolested, other than the occasional curious redcap that needs to be shooed away.
Before the scene cuts, I've always interpreted Divine Sense as being basically indetectable. I don't know if you agree with that or not. If
Sure.
you do, I wanted to use it while that conversation was going on.
Okay.
And that allows you to sense what exactly?
Celestials, fiends, and undead. In an
Okay.
area. I should forget the exact number. Of feet, but
Interestingly enough, it all of a sudden is like bing, 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 bing. You get this pulse of only light you can see, and it sends these little glowing pulses, and the tone of the pulse indicates what you think it is. And so Darmita lights up ever so slightly celestial in nature. You see Barnabas, bing, the only undead in this immediate area, except the flesh golem actually has these elements that are undead and fiendish and fey, all stitched horribly together. Mad Maggie is indeed a fey creature, as are the red caps that dot the landscape.
So like I don't get fey, right? I get fiend, celestial, undead.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And what I was really working for is trying to figure out if she is actually fey or if she's like a night hag, which is actually fiendish.
Oh, I thought night hags were fey in nature.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? Yeah.
I'm going to have to read my notes, aren't I? Well, she is indeed a night hag, legitimately. So whatever ping that would be,
Seems like one.
she is definitely a night hag, which might be maybe a feyish creature that spent too much time in hell, or a hellish creature that spent a lot of time in fey.
They're weird. I
There
don't know
is a
what's up with them.
weird
They should be
blend.
fey.
They should be she's effectively both in a weird kind of way.
Yeah, I wish D&D had dual typing for stuff like that.
I'm
Just
homebrewing
feel
this.
they
I've
should.
already done that a few times, so we can do that.
Fair enough.
All right, so you guys get a long rest, and
undead
so
construct.
do we. We get a short rest, as we're going to take a quick little break, smoke if you got them, or stretch your legs, or, do some push-ups, or whatever it is you need to do to stay healthy. Viewers, thanks for watching, and we'll be back in, 10 minutes? I'm going to go make some more coffee. All right, so we'll be back in about 10 minutes. Thanks very much. And don't forget, we are always on the lookout for episode names. So if you have an episode suggestion, we're happy for that. And if you've got any other suggestions that you want me to throw at these people, you just let me know, and we'll mess with them real good. All right, thanks, everybody. We'll be back in a few. All right, everybody. I think we're going to come back, if that's all right by you.
Yep. Let's do
Alright.
this.
Let's bring these punkatoons back down. All right. I think we're on. Check. 1, 2. I think I'm on. I don't see the little thing moving. Oh, yeah. There it goes.
Oh, okay.
Hey, everybody. We're back. Thanks for sticking with us through the break. And don't forget, you are an integral part of this. We love you. Please make our characters do stuff. Make them, have a sudden flashback to their 3rd grade when they peed their pants in front of the whole class and they suddenly felt incredibly worthless. It's hell. Let's make it hell for them. Come on. Spend them
3rd
plot
grade.
points. Let's burn on a hole in your account anyway. Sorry, I'm speaking from my own experience. Yeah, back when it was cool. I was Miles Davis. Anyway, you know that movie. All right, so we're Side Quest Live, and we're playing some Dungeons and Dragons. If you're just jumping in, we're gonna jump right back. You are in the camp of a night hag named Mad Maggie, and she has offered you some assistance. That's weird. Anyway, you've all had a long rest. You're feeling a lot better, and we'll pick it up from there. So let's do this thing. So, I wouldn't call it a super restful night. I mean, there are definitely strange noises in the night, and it's always somewhat light. Even when it's darker, there's the roiling clouds, and there's not really a day-night cycle here. But you do manage to get some decent sleep, or at least somewhat decent sleep. Everything here, the food, the water, even the rest, is not peaceful. It's not satisfying in the way that it should be. Archibald, you have these dreams, troubling dreams that you can't quite remember, but you at one point, that the acolyte Farah is breathing down the back of your neck, and you're just like, what are you doing? And then she's gone in the wisps of night, and then you get back to sleep. Henrietta, we'll come back to you in just 1 second. Fenris, you have a dream you've had almost every day of your entire life. You're sitting in the back of a closet, and the cries calling out, and you force yourself awake because you've learned to do that. Darmita, you just keep seeing your friend's face as he is grappled by chains and of rock. Or maybe he was grappling them, and he looks up at you and he calls out. You can't quite make out what he says, and then you wake up in a sweat. Falurie, your old friend looks at you, a corpse laying. You find yourself on the plain of hell, walking along, and there's a body. And as you get closer, the body is the corpse of your fallen friend, twisted and mangled. And as you get closer, the eyes pop open and lock with yours, and you awaken. Henrietta, your dreams go for a while.
Yeah, I sit down before we go to sleep. I'm exhausted, but I try and focus myself with, quiet prayer, center myself, see if I can get some sleep. Exhausted, but still hard.
You grew up in a family of the faithful. Your father, your grandfather, your grandmother. These were all role models to you, and you, whether they were with the dogma or not, especially later on, you always took comfort in faith, but you were never drawn to it quite as much as your family would have liked. But having had the experiences you just had, the literal communion with a deity, tainted though it was by Baphomet, the demon, you actually touched a piece of Pelor, and in return, Pelor touched you, your mind linking, twisted though it was, and you try to puzzle that out. As you fall asleep, your mind travels back to the visions you saw when you wore the helm of the eye of the sight of Pelor. Not the eye of Pelor, that's something else. When you wore the helm, you had these flashes. In your spirit journey, you saw a bloodied woman in armor a soldier wearing the colors and crest of Elturel, grasping a gleaming longsword fit for an angel. Fresh blood streaming from a nasty cut on her cheek. She has wings unfurling from her back as she flies. Flying next to the woman is a small golden elephant with rapidly fluttering wings. You recognize Lulu, the Hollyphant.
Same one. Okay.
As they fly across the twisted plain of Avernus, an enormous loping demon threatening to devour the woman. She recoiled, battered to the ground, and then plunged the sword into the ground with the winged elephant next to her, the elephant thrusting itself against the gleaming blade, severing its own wing.
No.
As the demon was hurled back as an alabaster palace rose up around the sword, the elephant fled and watched as this bloody scab grew up from the ground to engulf the palace and the enormous demon. The elephant fled and fell and tumbled, slamming into this red water. Struggling for breath, manages to paddle to the shore on these rocks where two black-feathered, bird-like beings dressed in patchwork armor, standing next to a strange infernal vehicle, one that you now know. You look around the area of hell and lock eyes, looking for the woman who had thrust the sword into the ground. And you see a gleaming slit in the air open. The light is almost blinding, but it's not the light of Pelor. It's the wrong tint. It's somehow tainted. And this hand reaches forth, beckoning. Come. The battered, angelic woman, fluttering forward, resisting but a moment, stepping into this portal in the air, and it snaps shut behind. You awaken.
So Pelor showed me this. I have no indication of why. Just have to figure it out.
It's hard to piece together. Unless you're a watcher of our entire episodes. All 32 are available on YouTube. Go for it. Sorry.
But the one thing I do know is that that's the Bleeding Citadel.
You know that that's the Bleeding Citadel.
And I just feel
And
like
you know the
Olympians just
Hollyphant
there.
was there. You know there was this other winged angelic creature there. Summoned forth, or called forth, almost... You've seen a command spell before.
Sure.
The voice resonated with the power of a magic, forcing that creature to walk forward into the teleport gate. And that's what you get.
Okay. I'll take that long rest.
Everyone has the long rest. You all have a handful of rations. You can restock yourselves. Food is few and far between here in Avernus. It doesn't taste good. It's like eating bricks of tasteless ash, but it is sustaining.
I think that Archibald spent a few nights in jail over the years and has had similar food, so...
Oh, absolutely. You're like, yep, tastes like Salem Rock prison food.
Tastes like hangover food.
And Barnabas actually greets you at the exit to your gate at one point in the morning.
Bonnie.
And it's, hey, one good turn deserves another. You got a minute to help me?
Certainly.
Walk with me. And the mage hand appears, and it's holding a flask.
I am not going to drink it right now.
Okay. If a skull could shrug, it would have shrugged and then takes a swill itself. It immediately rolls back on its flame tongue and then dribbles out of the hole at the bottom, but nonetheless, it seems to be somewhat satisfied by at least the feel of drinking, almost like the old memories of a long-gone life. As it hovers along next to you, it kind of furtively glances around and looks for these red caps. A couple of them skitter away, just outside of earshot. Barnabas keeps his voice down, his tongue slurring through the hole in his face where his teeth used to be. Well, the problem is, goddamn red caps, they love to torture us and bother anything. I mean, you've seen them. You know what they're like. I'm pretty certain that they scooped up the teeth after they got knocked out by your friend over there. And I want them back. The red caps keep mocking me incessantly for the way that I speak. If you wanted them twist their little fucking necks off or chop them up or whatever you want to do to get them to give up the goods, I'm pretty sure I know which one at least had them, even if he doesn't have it now.
Point him out to me right now. Where is he? Point him out to me.
The mage
right now.
hand kind of hovers and points, and after a little while, they spot one particular red cap. This one's got a long, elongated gray mustache and a little tuft of a beard, a little bit different than the others. But you mark him and make sure that you can tell him apart from the others.
How tall is he?
Like not even 3 feet.
Okay, so I'm just gonna walk up to him and it's gonna be like, give him the teeth. And I will roll for intimidation.
Yeah, you will.
That would be 27.
Oh, damn. All right, the thing looks up at you and it turns around angrily and looks at you, but he's at knee level, and he just looks. And you bend down and say this right at him and extend it, and he's just like, I don't have them. I mean, did Barnabas put you? Okay. He takes in that he just gets the impression that you mean no nonsense. And he's just like, look, I don't have them. I had them, but I don't have them anymore. All right. We pass them around.
Go get me the teeth.
But
Go get me the teeth.
I don't.
Who has the teeth? Point them out to me.
I don't. I'd have to find them.
Go get me the teeth, or, I'll, kick your ass and stuff like that.
Okay.
Go. We don't have much time.
You beat the crap out of him on his 15. You just intimidated the crap out of a little fey creature, and he goes scurrying off. And a couple of the other fey creatures have been just red caps who are kind of just taking it all in, or just start howling and slapping each other and hitting each other's knees and punching each other and just like laughing at the one that goes scurrying off scared.
I'm just like standing there with my hand out.
You look at them and they're like, they stop laughing. I have to go.
Who has the teeth? Who?
They both point at each other.
Who has the teeth? Come on now. And I'm just like standing there with my hand. Well, Barney, I tried my best.
That's not exactly what I thought you were gonna do. I thought you were gonna corner him and kill him and take it off its corpse, but whatever works.
Well, we'll catch up with him later.
Okay. Thanks.
You want me? You just want me to kill him over teeth? What if What if when we go back to the surface, I'll get you some gold ones?
Roll persuasion with advantage.
That reminds me, you have like an actual ability to like literally charm people. I feel
Oh,
like this is
yeah.
a good candidate for that.
I think that I took 3 levels of fighter.
Oh, really?
Yes, so now I have the combat maneuvers and stuff like that.
You're one
Okay,
scrappy Mo.
Yeah, so the last 3 levels I just took a fighter. So sorry, I'm gonna
Okay.
do that roll now.
Yeah, go for it.
Ooh, I rolled a 1.
Oh, with advantage?
With advantage, I only rolled a 4, so it's an 11.
Okay, he doesn't look quite sold on the idea. He just kind of, yeah, the mortal realms. Good one.
I will even maybe put a ruby in one of them.
Now I know you're lying. Come on. Ah, no, really, I just would like the teeth that I have so that the red caps stop mocking me. I mean, I'd fry them myself, but let's just say Mad Maggie wouldn't like it if I did it, but,
well,
I mean, she's not the boss of you.
No, she's not. We'll figure it all out. Don't worry about her. We'll just figure. I mean, we'll have a great time. That's all I'm gonna say.
He takes another swig, the liquor puddling down in the hole below him. All right, over with Falurie and Darmita. Well, Falurie comes out of the tent and sees Archie kind of chatting away over there. You see the infernal machines. You actually can make out Chuck and Clunk over near one of the machines on not the other side of the camp, but you can see them a little bit further off, kind of padding around on one of the machines. You see the tent where Maggie was, and a bunch of red caps, and then your own party. What do you want to do? Either anybody.
If you have something quicker, I'm just still trying to figure out. If you get something quicker, you can go, Carl. But otherwise,
Did you say that was in my dream that I noticed my down friend, or was it actually in real life?
It was in a dream, and you kind of get that flash for a second of graduation, or prior to that, and then you're back here again, and you can hear Chukka and Clonk kind of chirping away at each other, and one of them is calling out and says, "Better late than never. Come on, better late." And the other one says, "No, no." And you can see them kind of they're doing something to one of those machines.
I'll just go over and see what's happening.
They seem to be kind of prying away at it and looking around at it and just kind of kicking it, and the other one climbs up on top, and the smaller one calls up and says, "Get to it, get to it, get to it." And then you hear the whole thing try to turn over. And it's just not starting. It's not one of the machines you rode in on yesterday. It's a different one.
Okay. I'll just stay there and keep looking and just keeping an eye on the part. I'm just a little restless. I just want to get out of here.
Yeah, that's fair. After a little while, they take you in and see you and kind of nod, and they do this little sign, which you take to mean like morning, and then they turn back and the bigger one leans over, sees you and nods at you and calls out, "40 winks."
Okay, I start doing 40 winks.
it kind of chuckles and then laughs, and then starts swearing at the other one. They do know how to swear. They know how to swear because the red caps told them. So they are just swearing a blue streak back and forth at each other for a little while as they're trying to figure out how to get this thing going. All right, Darmita.
Yeah, I'm gonna I would have assumed that she would have probably shared a tent with Lulu
Sure.
to keep an eye on him throughout the night. Is he awake?
You kind of take a look, and he does wake up. And when you come to, you look over, and you're a little surprised to see where the large furred mammoth was. Well, not large, but where the miniature furred winged mammoth was from the night before. Now there's the shriveled little huskin form of the little old man, naked as the day he was born, his long beard, bald head, and just kind of shuddering there, kind of like a dog in its sleep, kind of leg and arm kind of twitching, and he rolls. Oh, good morning.
And cover him.
He pulls it up over his chin.
You're back.
Ah, yes, I'm back. If only back were back to me. I am sorry. He looks sad for a moment. I forget lots of things, but I remember. We left him. I am sorry. I had to get us out. They were coming.
Yeah, they were. What else do you remember, Lulu?
All the usual. I remember being a mammoth and a hollyphant. What a wonderful little creature. Lots of fun to be those. I think I'm that normally, but I'm able to become this. Or is it the other way around? I don't really remember that bit. But, yes. Yes, and I remember, I remember falling, and the sickly warm red water, yes, and Chugga and Clonk. Where are we? This smells familiar.
Who's Mad Maggie?
Mad. She is mad, but not mad at me, or hopefully you. She did help me. She wanted to help me, but I was a bit of a disappointment, I suppose.
Do you remember what she wanted?
She wanted to dream. But I'd forgotten even that. But near you and with your friends, I remember more. I do. I remember some of my dreams. Yesterday, I remember I was dreaming of riding on a large marshmallow, and it was rocking back and forth, and I could nibble on it, and it was delicious.
Mad Maggie remembers you.
Oh, does she? I made an impression.
Yes.
I'm naked.
Yes. We should get you some clothes, but first, we're at Maggie's camp.
Oh. Have you seen the Birdmen?
Yes.
Not the other. I remember one Birdman, but she was not the same as the others.
Oh, Falurie?
Yes. I remember Falurie from when we were in the High Hall. I do remember. I try to pay attention, but it's very easy to... I don't think I was in this tent before. Anyway, is Chonka and Clonk here? They were kind
Really?
in their manner. They took me. They found me.
So they didn't want to hurt you?
They wanted to bring me to their boss. They're not big speakers.
Okay.
But
You're
from what
not-
I can glean,
You're not afraid of her, are you?
I think I need to be careful. But I don't remember why. And she was kind. She introduced me to her little annoying ones, and they were not, no, but the birds and the skull were fine, and the merchant was kind, and he took me. He seemed very gregarious and kind. I didn't spend as long with him. I was here for a while, and she kept bringing me into her tent, and I don't remember much, but I do know that she was not very happy at the end, but she was not mad, but she was... Anyway, and then I saw that turtle crawling across the ground, and I knew, oh, that is very interesting. It's not really a turtle, but it looks like a turtle. And then I was riding on it. Oh, it was glorious. And then there was a tent. Oh, and very good sweets.
Okay. I'm glad you're excited about that. Maybe they'll have more.
Oh, the sweets weren't here. The food
Oh.
here is kind of awful.
Yes. But, it's what we can get. I want you to stay close to me while we're here.
Oh, all right, I'll keep you safe.
Yes. That would be wonderful. And I'm not mad at you.
You shouldn't be that hard on him either. They're stubborn, foolish lot, some men are. Most. But he told me to go, you know.
Yeah.
He told me, I think he told you he loved you. And he told me to go. As you do. In the last part he said without actually moving his lips telepathically. Ben Kum, my dear. I forget you are young.
I'm not that young.
Well, there you sound like your mother. You
I
haven't...
would like her.
I
Do you
would-
remember her?
Yes, little bits. Here and there. I know she was the best of us. The best of the Legion. The right hand. She was brave. She didn't even flinch when we came in through the gate. The others, well... The others. I'm sorry, my dear. Let's see about those clothes. Yes.
Maybe we can go see Fenris and maybe he has some spares.
All right. So you guys cut forward to looking for clothes for the old man. And anybody else want to do anything with their morning?
Hen has some morning prayers. Trying to see if she can contact Pella in a like preparing spells kind of way, just generally speaking. Is there enough that contact? And then if there is, seeing if she can go a little further and get some guidance.
It's
But regardless, there's the ritual of it, right?
yeah.
There's
You
the
perform the ritual of it.
emotional support of that religion's all about.
In the similar way that the food here is sustaining and functional, prayer, especially prayer out of long habit, it will sustain you and it is functional, but there is very little joy in it. Almost like a voice calling out in the bottom of a deep, deep well. And you can make out the ever so the faint hope of light above. But there's no call directly back. Your spells do replenish as you choose to prepare them. But it's hard not to feel alone here.
You probably get a few seconds of hearing. The specifics of Hen's prayers aren't relevant, but there's probably a moment where she's like, Bela, I don't know what to do. There's all these people and don't know how long they can survive without me. I'm not sure what I can even do to save them. You showed me the Citadel. Is that where I need to go? Is the answer going to be there? Or do I just need to find another way? Wish I could find out what it meant.
You ready yourself for the day, hoping that you were heard.
Yeah.
But no answer is forthcoming yet. All right, once the rest of you gather up, there's a strange skittering, scraping noise just outside of kind of your area. And this long tongue reaches out and pulls back one of the curtains, and this hulking form of the flesh golem, bits of demon and devil sewn together, reaches down and belches forth this terrible, fetid stench and nods towards the main tent.
Yeah, I think we have some words we need to... There's some words we need to have with Mad Maggie. Before we go in.
And it goes to take a step, and its ankle just rolls painfully. And you're just like, oh, and it kind of stumbles itself up and stands again. And does this hop, and a bunch of the redcaps just chitter and laugh watching this, and then they start doing this silly dance as though they're making fun of the way that this thing moves. And you see the large hulking thing look back, look at you, and then look over at the redcaps, and then kind of try to take another halting step. And this one kind of holds enough that it does a little hop to its other leg, and another one. And just
do a perception check.
Absolutely.
Like what's going on?
Sure.
Why not?
I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah, well, I said it a few times. 15.
Okay. Interestingly enough, you realize all the rest of him moves just fine. And you actually can realize that there's something wrong with his one leg. And as twisted and bent and strange as he is, there's an odd asymmetry. He can walk, but there's a strange kind of fragment sticking out at an odd angle, which is inhibiting Mickey's stride.
a fragment of something?
Well, he's made of sinew and bone from all these other collected creatures, and you see the leg of a bone devil, but you've seen a bone devil up close. There's this weird kind of, as though a bone has been broken and set really badly at this one angle. In fact, it almost looks like a shard of bone that doesn't even belong with the rest of this leg, kind of wedged in at the one ankle, as though in the assembly there was something wrong or some kind of accident is causing this to damage him in such a way that he can't walk properly. You could... Sorry, go ahead.
Can it be pulled out, like with a mage hand, or?
Sure. Go ahead and do a medicine check for me.
Oh boy.
Or you can...
Yeah, sure.
I mean, I guess we all see you do this.
Yeah,
I'm just like, that's just bizarre. I was like, when he limped and rolled, I'm like, there seems to be a weird fragment. Yeah, 11.
Okay.
I'll point it out to...
You grab it and try to pull it, but it's wedged in too tight.
I'll mention it to...
Henrietta definitely is right there.
like,
Everyone
Hen,
else is
like-
there.
I'll point it out. Like, Hen, there's a weird fragment. And I'm just kind of like,
So
Mickey is
I'm not sure what
pivots
my-
around and looks down at you and just stands kind of like...
it does
waiting
appear to
for
like
something.
have thought and like reason. It doesn't just seem to be a golem.
It's got a bit of a personality, you're realizing.
Yeah.
And even though it's hulking and terrifying, it doesn't seem hostile to you unless it's protecting Mad Maggie.
Right. Yeah. It's not just some flesh golem. It's walking on. There's some thought behind those eyes. I'll give it a look.
The pitch black insectine eyes blink this way.
Mickey, is it? Do you mind if I get in there? Take a look.
And it kind of stretches out its one bad leg and it kind of offering towards you. And the red caps all hush around and you hear some of them be like, "Come on!"
Cool.
And then they all dance and they're like, "Do the Mickey!" And they're all like howling and laughing at one of the other red caps. And you recognize him, Archibald, as the one that you threatened, doing this hobbling dance, making fun of the Mickey.
All right.
Okay, roll
if
medicine,
If I
please.
can identify it and pull it out, then I will. You want it as a medicine?
You can do it with assistance. Fenris is helping you.
I can also assist if
Sure.
you need it.
Okay. I get 2 19s, which is really lucky because I still have disadvantage.
Pop.
Well, I mean, it's not actually still because I get advantage.
Yeah. So after this sickening crack and sound,
Yeah, 26.
nice. Between the two of you, you steady the leg, Henrietta, and Falurie reaches in with these deft fingers and just snatches this in this almost monk-like kind of way, almost like a bird pecking a worm. The bone fragment is now in his hand, and as you pull it out, you see this good 5-inch chunk of bone sharpened almost like a blade, and the red caps howl and you see some of them start fighting and gnashing, and they start scurrying towards you in a threatening way, and the old man's like, "Oh dear," and at this point you all realize the old man is here, not the Hollyvent, and wrapped in Darmita's cloak. And Mickey suddenly stretches out his legs, and as the red caps come rushing forward, turns over and slaps its long worm-like tongue against the ground in front of the red caps before they can charge forward. And the red caps scurry to a stop, and Mickey opens his jaws and lets forth this. And the red caps are like, and go running off. And Mickey then kind of tests the leg, looks at you all, and and motioning towards Mad Maggie's tent, and he's kind of almost happily rubbing these these hands together, one of which is a devil's hand, like off of a horn devil or something, and the other one is this bony bone devil claw. Then so they're mismatched, and it's just like eagerly kind of moving without any trouble now.
Is there anything we want to discuss before we go talk to Maggie again?
Is that guy still there? Can I try to? Does he have a pouch or something like that? Possibly maybe
Do a perception check for me there, Archibald.
Okay. And if so, I'm gonna try to pick his pocket.
That's fair.
Sorry, that is a 21.
Oh yeah, you see it does have, it's not a pouch. Well, it is a pouch, but it's not on the belt. It's actually on a little necklace that's dangling around. And he goes, you can see him talking with this other redcap, and they're both like lamenting about now they can't do the Mickey anymore.
Okay, well, I'm just gonna go up and like just grab it and take it. I'm not even gonna try to sleight of hand it.
Sure, go ahead and make an opposed athletics check. Or yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm not the strongest person in the world, but we'll see.
Oh, we have a moment. How late do we think we're planning on going?
Oh yeah, it is almost midnight. Go a little bit longer.
19?
Into the 10. It only got a 10, so you snap the cord off of its neck and give it a little rattle. There's definitely two little things in there kind of clicking together.
Then I'll just walk away.
All right. As you start walking away, you hear shing, and this thing that like, hey, and it comes running up behind you. He's attacking you from behind.
Okay, so I guess roll. What the hell am I trying to say here?
Oh man. All right. He does attack you, rolls a nat 20, and does, oops, hold on. Wrong button. The suspense is killing me. Does a total of 6 damage to you as it tries to stab you in the knee. You pivot, and what do you want to do? And it's looking at you with this murderous glint, this large red tooth kind of dangling off one side of its head.
I'm going to try just stab the shit out of him. Like, what the fuck? What
Yeah,
am I messing around for? He's just like, wrong move. And he just pulls out his fucking rapier and comes right at him. With a combat maneuver, and there's nobody around, so it'll be sneak attack damage, so I'll be rolling like some heavy duty damage if I hit anyway. So I'll calculate the damage in a sec. I'll just go for the hit. Oh, I also rolled a nat 20.
Oh, that is not gonna end well for him.
So total damage is gonna be and I'm gonna use my combat maneuver.
This is not going to last long.
No.
He'll have to also make a strength save to.
I definitely want to. I want to let you roll, but I can tell you already that it is probably dead. But I want to see the damage that you drop on this little.
2, 8, 12, 14, 15.
No, they're fairly tough, actually.
This is a crit on a sneak attack, right? Like,
yeah.
This is...
Yeah, really. What is how do you calculate crit damage?
Well, you can either double anything that wasn't your modifier. So whatever you rolled on the dice, you can double it, or you can roll twice on the dice. I usually just double whatever you roll.
Okay, I'll do the double thing. So what did I say? Till 23. So I guess that would be 56 plus 5, like 61
damage. Ooh, boy, with just a regular old rapier.
And he has to roll a strength check, or he will drop his weapon.
He definitely drops his weapon because he is just skewered right up to the chin. Like you went right through the throat.
Yeah.
And the blade, and you just lift him up.
It was basically like the moment that he took a second to admire what he did to me was the last second that he had, because it was like he hit me and then he was like, "Oh, I did."
Yeah.
And just
then
as he went to admire what he did, it was like,
yep.
just in and out, like, whoop, whoop.
And then he just drops. And all the other red caps scatter and like, and they call you a bunch of names in various languages, all of which are foul. And you have the teeth, and you guys make your way into Maid Maggie's hut.
I assume that whole thing happened away from the rest of us.
Archie just kind of walked forward as the rest of you turned to go there, and then it all just happened like grab, turn, stab, dead. It was just like flurry of activity.
Probably much how a real duel would have been in real life, really.
Yeah.
And then Mickey looks back, and you just see the tongue loll out, and you see its mouth open, and it goes and spits on the little red cap, and the saliva hits it and just kind of globs over most of its whole head and starts slowly dissolving it. And then you see Mickey go
You so fine, Mickey.
Yeah.
and turns and
I'm going to start walking.
Starts leading you guys in.
I just kind of smile at it, at what you did, Archie, but I'm going to be like, all right, and then like walk off towards...
Where's Bernie? Bernie,
All
Bernie?
right.
Where's your
So,
teeth, Bernie?
Um,
As I see Bernie Barnabas,
absolutely.
I just
chuck it to him.
toss him his teeth.
Nice. And the mage hand catches it in the midair, and he's like, huh. Perhaps if things go well, maybe we will see this mortal realm.
I had an even more capital idea, Barney. I was thinking, not only will I get you gold teeth, I will get you a full grill when we get back home.
All right, so you guys, you're the last
Most
one into the
capital.
tent. Nice. You're the very last one in the door as Barnabas is just kind of sitting there nodding, and you see the mage hand busy trying to fit his teeth back in, and you hear it. All right, you are now in the tent. It's oddly dim in here. There's this little flickers of embers, almost not sitting still though, almost shifting around like fireflies. And as your eyes slowly adjust to the inside, you see this is not so much a tent as a bit of a tunnel, like marking the front area. The back of the tent is missing, and it extends probably 20 feet ahead, and then continues on in this kind of jagged path that leads up between what would have been the fingers of this raised up hill. As you progress forward, you see these little flickering, almost like fireflies, but like almost living embers. Those of you with passive perception over 16, which I think is a couple of you, you do make out that there are little tiny wisps, and they appear to have like wings and almost like fire fairies for a second, but they're very short-lived, each one only getting to go about 20 feet and looking around and then burning out of existence. But these little things kind of tend to light your way as you ascend up between these cracks and around, and finally you find this little pool of water trickling down, probably the water source for the whole camp, into a bit of a pool. You continue on into this grotto where there's this you can tell that there's a cavern that extends further in, but there's almost like an entryway, all natural except well lived in and ever so slightly adjusted. This is the inner courtyard of Mad Maggie, and there she sits on what amounts to be a ramshackle, semi-natural throne-like seat. She kind of steps up with this long stick, holding her, helping her walk as she goes forward. And yes, welcome. I'm glad you decided to stay. Now, if all is well, then we can proceed. I trust you've been Not making too much trouble out there?
No trouble that wasn't asking for it. I just kind
Sorry.
of glance back at Archibald. But
He drew first.
She kind of waves nonchalantly, as though, like, no, pay it no mind. They're useful, but they're mad. Now, Mickey tells me you've done him a good favor. And Barnabas as well. This speaks well of you. And they are in your debt, and they are in my debt. And in some way that indebts me to you. So, allow me to lay it on the table for you. And she turns, and there's literally a table with this crystal ball sitting there, draped in cloth that wasn't there a second ago. And she waves her hand over it, and in the mists in the crystal, you start to see visions, envisioning what she says as she speaks. I have been here for many years. I came looking for misery, and I thought I would find it in spades. And I did. But like all things here, it turned to ash in my mouth. This hellborn misery is it is common. I seek a finer gourmet. And it is hard to savor the misery of wretches and the fallen. But those who have tasted glory, those who understand what it means to stand in the light and lose that. And her eyes flick over to Darmita, and even to Fenris at this point. Yeah, and then come to rest down on Falurie. Some of you know of these delicious difficulties. Well, the purest would be that of celestial blood. She looks at Lulu. In your mind, little one, not so little now, I think you hold the fall of an archangel. I think that you were there, and I think you can show me. We tried before, but it didn't work. But now, something has changed. You remember more. If the rest of you are willing to help, we can find out exactly what Lulu remembers.
While she's speaking, can I fix on kind of subtle nuances like her facial expressions or tones to kind of try to get a gauge on, I guess, in somewhat intent, like?
Sure. Go ahead and roll an insight check.
Or, like, I'm trying to kind of gauge where she's coming from, if that's possible.
Sure. Go ahead and roll insight. She's a fiend. I'll let you roll with advantage.
Okay. Thank you.
Also, quite likely, the rest of the party is going to be assisting.
Okay. 16.
16. She doesn't appear to be holding anything back. You get the impression that she doesn't view any of you as a threat.
Sure.
More as a potential gain. And when she does walk past the old man, she kind of cups his head in a gentle way. And at first that raises your hackles, but you actually see that she is genuinely being gentle with the old man. And the old man is just kind of, oh, yes. It's almost like a trip to a dentist, but you've been there before and you're used to it, so you kind of relax. So the old man is kind of relaxing himself and trying to... There's something familiar about this for the old man, and when she gets to the point saying, we've tried before, he kind of... There's a flicker of recognition. She's not the easiest to read, but the old man for you is. It doesn't appear like she means him harm, at least not in any kind of direct way.
You're gonna have to tell us if this is gonna cost him anything. Is he gonna lose the memory? It's gone forever. Lose a piece of his soul. These are the sorts of bargains that people tend to not talk about.
Well,
give me this one thing, but it comes with his others.
When I make a
You
deal...
don't have to let us know someone. I think you're talking.
Oh.
I think you're saying something.
Is it speaking? Hello, test.
Hi.
When I make a deal, I will put all the clauses in plain language for you. It is not without risk, but the risk will be yours. Lulu will not be harmed, besides the fact that it will be able to remember what I suspect, what I hope is the saddest, worst day of its life. But this didn't seem to harm any of you. Not harm directly. No, Lulu will remember. And will be unharmed otherwise.
Other than remembering
Yes.
saddest, worst day of his life, you said?
We all have our burdens to bear. Do we not, my dear? Do we not?
So you don't care about the memory even?
Oh,
So
I
watch him
care
suffer.
about the memory. Oh no. He's been a wonderful guest. But even willing to try to remember. However, when I get to witness this, you sustain yourselves with mere food and drink and whoring or whatever it is that is drawn draws you out, gives you meaning. I seek the misery. It sustains me. It will be enough, all by itself. An uncommon misery of a creature born in light, facing the dark and despair, alone.
You don't mean a friend here. You mean the Archangel.
You are a perceptive one.
Well, unless I'm mistaken, I share that memory too. So maybe we can do this a little differently.
Go on.
Well, I suppose first we need our terms. I know what I want. I'm not sure about the rest of us.
I can help you find this citadel. I can provide you with transport. I can even give you supplies, fuel, weapons. What do you wish? Pardon?
Oh,
Weed.
wig?
A wig? Certainly. What?
Wig.
What do you want most? I can... If it is within my power, I may help.
That's the question, ain't it? I want to put Elturel back where it was. I want to save all those people. And I don't. It's going to take a lot of convincing to let. It's going to take a lot to convince me you can do that.
I might be able to send a few back, screaming across the plains back to where they came from. A whole city, I'm afraid, is beyond even me. But I might have some contacts, an idea or two about how such a thing got here, and how it might be ungot. Not directly, but a good path. I think our interests align here. You want the
You have
Citadel.
my attention.
You want the Citadel. Something tells me it could guide you that way as well. And I want, among other things, I want to know how the Eye of Pelor felt as it left the burning site of Pelor, entered into hell seeking triumph. I want to know what it felt like when it lost. What it would take to turn such a soul into an archdevil. That's what I would like.
Why? Other than feeding you.
Can you imagine a more delicious, savory morsel of dread? Neither can I. So, the ritual's ready below, in the cavern. If you're interested, we can begin immediately. Do we have a deal?
And I'll look at the others, try to gauge if they're
Talk
game for
amongst
this or not.
yourselves.
Sure.
I will prepare here. She goes over to the table and motions a hand, and the whole rock thing that was her chair goes shuddering across the ground and piles itself next, and she settles herself down next to this crystal and kind of starts poring over it. And she doesn't seem to be listening. You guys have a couple, you're probably like 50 feet away from her right now.
Sure.
I think you're
wonder if there's
muted,
another way. Going on a lot of, well, a lot of faith, I suppose. Sort of stare off into the middle distance.
So what kind of goodies do you think we'll get out of this if we decide to do this?
It's not a. Did you say what about the goodies we're gonna get?
Hold on. There we go. Yeah. What kind of goodies do you think we're gonna get out of this guy? Like, is this the idea? I mean, me, I'm just here for the adventure.
Any idea how you're going to get back? Are you just going to live down here?
Darmita just glares at Archie. For the first time, she's not entirely sure about him.
We need.
For the first time.
I try to say this in a low voice so the hag doesn't hear us.
Hmm.
We need to get to that citadel. It holds what we need to get. It is not just our ticket out of here. It could be the ticket to save Elturel, Henrietta. It could be the ticket for all of us. And to do what needs to be done with a certain person.
Wow.
And I look meaningfully at Bela about, and I don't want to say what it is, but she knows what it is. It's one of the key pieces to ending it. To end it, to get us home, to get Elturel home. This is where our paths are all aligned.
And when you say all of us home, do you actually mean all of us?
All of us that can make it.
Well,
It could even help us get... Do you know of a better way? Do any of you know of a better way?
I don't know of a better way, but I do know one thing. Sometimes making a deal with a new devil isn't exactly the best. Are we just trading one piece of garbage for a worse one? That's all I'm asking. I'll do it because it's our only way, but just be prepared.
Yeah,
And we do want our souls to remain intact.
we certainly have some conditions of our own.
Yeah,
in this
this isn't about...
But
Yeah.
I gotta keep faith. Answers have to be at the Citadel, right? What if we could get there on our own?
Unlikely.
Yeah.
Well, then we do it and we try to squeeze this guy for some swag.
Okay, then.
Rolando Tostando San Namasuna. How do you feel?
Mostly a little chilly. Well, Fenris, do you happen to have any extra robes?
I totally forgot.
I do have like my sack, so I'm sure I have some extra clothes that I can just give to him.
Oh, good. He strips off naked right in front of all of you. And you're all like, oh, God. He just starts getting dressed.
Sure. Some of my clothes that weren't like the old raggedy ones before I got some new ones. Sure. Okay.
It's hugely, it's like very large on him, but he ties it with an extra like cinch of the belt and, or rope in this case, and passes Darmita back her cloak and then starts just standing next to Darmita and kind of loops his arm in hers and just is now ready to, as though he's ready to take a little trip.
Spare Lulu, if, well, assuming it works, I'm willing to take on this burden.
And Barney's coming with us.
It,
If I don't make it through, if I break in the process, I want you to save Elturel.
It was always my burden to bear. I just lost it for a little while. It's probably time I pick it up. Oh, look, a jade one. And he bends down and scoops up this little green stone off of the ground that's been polished in the river, in the little pool of water.
Like to the rest of us, see what people, what people are thinking about this, right? Because just because he says this is a burden to bear doesn't mean everyone else agrees. And trying to pick up on what they're thinking.
Well, you definitely pick up that Darmita disagrees, but let's say it out loud.
Is he going to break him or is he going to fix him? It is a memory. Sorry, that's me. I didn't say that. Sorry.
That's okay. The hag's voice calls out, "So, if you're ready, the ritual's ready and waiting for you. Lulanda, you may have a seat here." And there's a second seat on the opposite side of the cave, flanking the entrance.
Right.
The rest of you, when you are set, enter the cave. You will be entering into the mines, into what lies behind us, what is now, and even what may be. This hall, I will guide you from here. I can see the path clearer from here, which was my problem before. But if you walk it, I may guide you. Listen to my voice. When you are ready.
This ritual will help restore his memory then.
If it works, yes.
No trading of souls, none of that bullshit.
That is base matter of devils and demons. I am not interested in that trade beyond what it can fetch me if I must. And
Oh shit, my phone's dying.
it's okay.
Gotta get a plug.
It's okay. We gotta wrap it up now anyway.
All right. So you get to experience a memory of the Eye of Pelor's fall, and we get to find a memory of where this citadel is. Fine. Nothing more than that.
If you don't want my other offers of assistance. But you were
We definitely want your other offers of assistance.
Yeah.
Archibald
We'll
pipes
take
up.
we'll take those offers of assistance. Yeah, but at no cost of anything like trading our souls or barter. Okay.
No.
All right.
You've already helped some of mine. It's only worthy of me to help you.
Can I just do an insight check to see if she's lying to me?
Sure, go for it.
Any type of deception. Ooh, nat 20. 22.
A lot of those going around tonight.
You lock eyes with her for a moment, and you see you're hunting for deception, and instead what you see is almost a ravenous hunger. It's this excitement of being so close to something that she really wanted and was denied, that she's almost having trouble she's trying her best to contain her excitement, and it probably means a lot more to her than she's letting on. This idea of these memories. And when she looks at Lulu, it's very apparent. But she does have a certain hunger, almost like a secondary hunger towards when she looks at you a little. And when she looks at Darmita, even when she looks at Hen and Falurie, and even to some degree when she looks at Archibald, It's not that she wants your souls. She wants your misery. And the greatest misery is that which has fallen the greatest distance. Archibald, no offense, he was already a little bit low. So she's not as interested in him. Henrietta, a little bit. Piousness. You get that impression. She'd be okay with some Henrietta memories. Falurie, there's some good meat on that bone. Darmita, there's something about Darmita that she's like, oh, I don't know what that is, but it smells good. And with you, she, in a similar way that she wasn't as drawn to Archibald, she doesn't seem as drawn to you, but there is a draw there. And when she looks at you with this, she would happily take from any of you your worst days. But from Lulu, it's almost clouding her judgment how much she wants this.
What if it doesn't work again? The deal stands, right?
I will still aid you on your way, but you would need a destination. There are others who might help you in the wastes, but your best bet is here.
Well, Lulu's made a decision, but I'm willing to stand in its place. I have those memories which are not my own. I look to the others.
Perhaps it will do. Let's see. Welcome to the Cavern of Dreams.
And that's our hard cut.
And that's our hard cut. It's getting late.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much for hanging in there, guys. We went a little bit over time. And thank you very much to the internet for joining us and listening either after the fact or watching us live. Don't forget, we try to play every Thursday. And thanks everybody. It's so nice to sit back. And we didn't actually do much combat, so I'm glad Archibald managed to stab something tonight. That was fun.
I was half expecting with that nat 20 to just, she's totally trying to screw you guys over.
It's almost the opposite. She's trying not to screw herself over. She's just like,
yeah.
She's like a kindergartner staring at the candy. Just being like, give me the candy, please. It's right there. I'm glad you got the nat 20 though.
Archibald's going to be going for like a hell-forged rapier of some kind. He's going to be like,
that's a real
that's
thing.
What I want from you. Make me a rapier.
Nice.
Oh, hell, woman.
That might not be ready in time, but that could be interesting. That could be real interesting. So we'll see everybody hopefully next week. Again, my work situation's going to be all wacky in a couple of weeks, but I think next Thursday I'm good if you guys are.
Yep, should be good.
Awesome. And
I'll be on duty.
No, of course. But I'm glad you got to join us today, Jay. Sorry there wasn't more stabbing.
It was great. No, I had a great time. It's always good to play. I always like games where it's not necessarily all just a bunch of stabbing and stuff. I think the most fun games are games that are sometimes with the least amount of rules, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Telling the story together. That's what it all boils down to, if you ask me. But, you know, some of that's got to be stabbing. I mean, come on.
Or stabs.
All right, so we'll pick this up next week, and I think that's everything I got. I got to get some sleep.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Thanks a lot. I will say this: we do need an episode name. So if anybody in the party has a suggestion, or if any viewers have any suggestions,
I'm just gonna suggest realistic duel.
Red Dead.
Red Dead.
Uh,
Yeah,
I run
man.
some copyright issues, but it's all right. It's worth it.
Yeah, I'll just bankrupt myself. It's not like, I'll take all the lucrative Twitch money that I'm not making right now. Hey, everybody, click the little follow. For goodness sake, these are some good storytellers. I'm having a lot of fun with you guys. So
there was one interesting alliance made tonight between me and Falurie.
yeah,
Yeah?
that was kind of fun.
Mutual interests.
Yeah. Ooh, that would actually be a pretty good title name because it applies a couple of different things.
Yeah, it does.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. I think mutual interest might take it, but internet, you do get dibs, and I often do double. All right. Thanks, everybody, and we'll be back for more adventures in hell. And happy Halloween to those who practice it, and Day of the Dead for those who practice that. And just what am I listening to?
Because
All right. Good night, everybody, and thanks again.
Good night.
Take care.
everybody.
Night night.
Thanks so much for tuning in. We try to record all of our games as much as possible, whether that's Dungeons & Dragons or Shadowrun or another tabletop role-playing game. Just a quick side note about all the licenses and copyrights involved. Our music is all Creative Commons attribution music on our live stream video feed or YouTube replay or Twitch VOD. We always attribute each individual artist, so be sure to check out those individual artist attributions. Lots of love to so many people who make their work available so that we can do what we do. So thank you. It influences our game. It makes it immeasurably better. So much appreciation for them. Let's not forget the makers of the games. Dungeons & Dragons is copywritten by Wizards of the Coast. They own it. They make it available to all of us to play, and it's wonderful. We are in no way affiliated with them, and nor do they endorse this podcast, but we are very appreciative. The other game we often play is Shadowrun, which is Catalyst Games, and again, we are not affiliated with them, and they do not endorse us, but we really appreciate their game, and we hope you appreciate our game. Thanks so much for tuning in. Don't forget to check us out on Instagram and Twitch and YouTube, and watch for those live games once we're streaming them out. And of course, we do accept suggestions for names, so please hit us up on Instagram and name our stuff. All right, thanks so much. I'm Todd, and this has been SideQuest Live. We'll see you again soon.